You're listening to Today in Parliament with me, Susan Hume. The Housing Minister has come under pressure to take urgent action to help people living in buildings covered in flammable cladding. A Conservative former Minister, Caroline Nokes, didn't mince her words.
Sleep deprivation is recognised as a form of torture. People living in buildings with unsafe cladding are being tortured physically due to a lack of sleep as they live in fear, financially as they cannot sell their homes, and are forced to pay for waking watches, and mentally as they live in limbo. Can I ask my honourable friend when he expects this torture to end?
The Minister, Chris Pincher, said he appreciated the terrible challenges and suffering that many people faced. Before Christmas, the government announced a new £30 million fund to help pay for the installation of fire alarms in high-rise buildings with dangerous cladding to replace round-the-clock fire patrols known as waking watches.
We expect the £30 million fund to be open this month with the aim to start providing funding for the installation of alarms as quickly as possible. We all agree, I think, Mr. Speaker, that the best way of making buildings safe is to speed up remediation, and that is what our policies intend.
But another Conservative, Sir Bob Neill, wanted a guarantee that leaseholders would not bear the costs of remedial work via a loan scheme, a point taken up by the chair of the Commons Housing Committee, Labour's Clive Betts.
Will he accept that a loan scheme which puts an additional debt on leaseholders is not a fair way out of this problem, and instead he should look to the industry and to government to cover the costs of putting these defects right?
Chris Pincher said developers should remedy defects in their buildings, and those owners who weren't able to put things right had access to a government fund of £1.6 billion.
We do not want and we do not expect leaseholders, hard-pressed leaseholders, to bear unfair costs of defects for which they are not responsible.
Labour's Shadow Housing Minister Mike Amesbury raised reports in the Sunday papers that, he said, added insult to injury.
Ministers are trying to gag recipients of the Building Safety Fund from speaking to the media. That's just not going to happen. Have ministers learned nothing about transparency from the Grenfell inquiry?
Chris Pincher didn't address the issue of whether building owners applying for funding could speak out, confining his answer to leaseholders.
If those leaseholders wish to step forward and make comments themselves, who am I to say that they should not? We live in a free country, let them speak.
The Housing Minister, Chris Pincher.